All right, y'all. So why is this major winter storm about to turn into one of the most explosive bomb cyclones we've seen all season? And why should you be paying attention right now?
It's Saturday, December 27th, 2025. Actually, the 361st day of the year. And I'm going to be honest with you. What's coming is going to shut down travel across the Midwest and so much more. We just had a decent storm move through the Northeast, dropping snow last night. But that was just the warm-up act for what's about to unfold across America during this sacred holiday period. As families are trying to get home from Christmas celebrations, Mother Nature has other plans that are going to test our faith and our preparedness in ways we haven't seen this winter. Now we've got this ridge in place with lots of warm air continuing to infiltrate the central and southern portions of the United States. But here's where it gets interesting. We've got a big low-pressure system coming over the Rockies and really gaining steam over the plains. And this is going to be our major player as we track one of the strongest storms of the season. At precisely 4 minutes and 30 seconds, I'll break down how this 971 millibar bomb cyclone will create wind gusts over 60 miles per hour that'll literally shut down the heartland. By minute 8, you'll understand exactly why the science behind this explosive cyclogenesis is fascinating and terrifying at the same time. Phasing shortwave energy, creating a vacuum in the atmosphere. At the 12-minute mark, I'll reveal specific impacts for over 50 major cities from coast to coast, including why some areas will see blizzards while others face severe weather. By minute 16, I'll explain why the severe weather component is actually less scary than it looks, but still dangerous, and why Indianapolis and Memphis need to be ready for overnight storms. And at the 20-minute mark, I'll show you why the lake effect snow that follows could dump 1 to 2 feet in persistent bands and paralyze local travel for days. But first, let me explain what makes this system so special and why veteran meteorologists are genuinely concerned about what's about to unfold. This thing is going to start sucking up a bunch of moisture from the Gulf tonight into tomorrow, and it's going to turn into a bomb cyclone right over the Great Lakes. Now, all that means is it's a really powerful low-pressure system where rapid deepening happens very fast, and I mean fast, in what's basically a violent atmospheric process. A lot of times, low-pressure systems will deepen and get stronger slowly as they move off to the north. But some of them, like this one, it happens explosively. And this rapid deepening is going to bring down a ton of cold air on the backside, mix it with all that Gulf moisture, and that's what's going to cause the blizzard conditions. The bullseye for this blizzard is going to be the upper Midwest and Great Lakes, specifically targeting eastern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, and the upper peninsula of Michigan. This system's going to ramp up Sunday night and reach its peak intensity on Monday morning, bringing travel to a complete standstill, honestly, in a big part of Wisconsin and the UP of Michigan. This is going to be a big one, y'all. The science here is fascinating. We've got a classic bomb genesis setup where phasing shortwave energy creates this vacuum of low pressure. That's going to tighten the pressure gradient to produce wind gusts of over 50 to 60 miles per hour. And by Monday, we're looking at a 971 millibar low over the Great Lakes. That is plumb wild, and there's going to be some crazy lake effect even in the main part of Michigan as the coldest air of the season rushes over those warm lakes. We're looking at snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour combined with high winds to create whiteout conditions. It's going to be windy and it's going to be a mess. Now, here's where I need to break down what this means for all of you across the country, because this storm has multiple personalities depending on where you are. Let's start with the blizzard zone. And if you're in the Twin Cities, Milwaukee, or anywhere across northern Wisconsin, you need to listen up right now. Minneapolis and St. Paul are looking at potentially the heaviest snowfall of the winter so far, with accumulations of 12 to 18 inches and dangerous wind chills dropping below zero. Duluth and the Iron Range could see even more. We're talking about 18 to 24 inches with wind chills that could reach life-threatening levels by Monday evening. Milwaukee, Madison, and Green Bay are going to get hammered too. 8 to 14 inches of snow with winds that could knock out power to hundreds of thousands of people. And here's something that's got me concerned. Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, and eastern Iowa could see substantial accumulations as this thing tracks through Sunday night. Now, Chicago, the Windy City, is about to live up to its name. This bomb cyclone is going to create dangerous conditions across the entire Chicagoland area. O'Hare and Midway are already prepping for major impacts, and the lakefront could see enhanced snowfall from Lake Michigan. This could be historic for the city. Detroit, Grand Rapids, and all of Michigan are going to deal with heavy snow from the main system, then get slammed with lake effect snow from multiple lakes. But here's where things get really interesting, and this is important. Cleveland, Toledo, and areas further south are going to be in this transition zone. That's where we go from heavy snow to something completely different. And that something is severe weather across the Ohio Valley and points south. Now, I'm going to be honest with you about this severe weather threat. This is a classic severe weather signal for the Ohio Valley. But there's one thing that makes it less scary. We're going to have tons of wind shear, really strong mid-level winds, and decent moisture, but we're not going to have those CAPE values super high. That's the thunderstorm fuel. That's 3 out of 4 ingredients you need for a major severe weather outbreak. But we're missing one, the instability. And thankfully, that's going to turn down the volume a lot. What this means is any storms that develop are likely going to be low-topped. Not the big flashy supercells, but quick hitters that can still cause problems. I think damaging winds are going to be the biggest threat here, but we can't rule out a tornado or 3, especially around St. Louis, Indianapolis, and Memphis. The window for these storms opens Sunday afternoon and extends into the overnight hours, making this a nocturnal threat. This stuff's going to be happening at night, you know what I'm saying? Columbus, Cincinnati, and Dayton are going to be right in that transition zone where heavy snow changes to severe thunderstorms as the system moves through. Indianapolis, Louisville, and Nashville are looking at this overnight severe weather threat, with damaging winds being the main concern as that sharp cold front comes through. St. Louis and Memphis, y'all need to be ready for Sunday night storms, and Birmingham and northern Alabama could see some strong storms too. Now, for my folks on the East Coast, Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse are going to get hit with moderate accumulations from the main storm, then lake effect snow for days. The Tug Hill region could see additional accumulations of 2 to 3 feet from lake effect alone. Buffalo and Watertown, get ready for traditional lake effect snowbelt conditions. Boston, New York, and Philadelphia are going to be on the southern edge of this thing. Mostly rain for the big cities, but some mixing is possible early on. Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Richmond will likely see mainly rain, but the exact track could shift these precipitation types around a bit. Now let me talk to my folks down south and out west, because even though you're not getting the main show, this thing's going to affect you too. Atlanta, Charlotte, and Raleigh could see some strong storms as that cold front sweeps through, mainly a wind threat, but keep an eye on radar Sunday night. Dallas, Houston, and Austin, y'all might see some scattered storms, but the main action stays further north and east where all the atmospheric dynamics are focused. Denver, Salt Lake City, and Phoenix, you're going to see much colder air moving in behind this system. So get ready for a temperature drop, but minimal precipitation. Seattle, Portland, and San Francisco will keep your Pacific pattern going while the rest of us deal with this winter chaos. Lucky you. Now here's where the timing gets critical. And this is where you really need to pay attention because preparation time is running out fast. Sunday morning, this thing starts organizing and tapping into that Gulf moisture. That's when you'll start seeing the first signs of what's coming. Sunday afternoon, the rapid intensification begins, and that severe weather window opens across the Ohio Valley. This is when things start getting real. Sunday evening into Sunday night, that's peak intensity time for severe weather in the south and the beginning of blizzard conditions in the north. Monday morning, we hit that 971 millibar reading over the Great Lakes with devastating winds and snow across the upper Midwest. This is the peak of the storm. Monday afternoon and beyond, the main storm moves into Canada, but here's the kicker. The lake effect phase begins, and that could last for days. And here's something that's really got me concerned. The lakes are still warm and unfrozen, so it's just the perfect ingredient for lake effect snow. 1 to 2 feet of snow is going to be possible in the most persistent bands with snowfall rates that could paralyze local travel. So get ready for that.
Now, I know some of y'all are wondering about what this means for travel, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this. It's going to be rough out there. If you're trying to get home from Christmas travels and you're anywhere in that blizzard zone, you need to get moving today or wait until Tuesday at the earliest. Interstates 35, 80, 90, and 94 could become completely impassable during the height of this storm. We're talking about zero visibility and impossible driving conditions. Airlines are already starting to prep. Minneapolis, Chicago, Detroit, and Cleveland airports are going to see major delays and cancellations starting Sunday night. But here's what really worries me about this setup. It's not just the storm itself. It's what comes after and how long this pattern could persist. This atmospheric pattern that's creating this bomb cyclone suggests we might be entering a more active period for winter storms across the northern states. The jet stream configuration that's promoting this explosive development could stick around, meaning more systems could follow in the weeks ahead. And believe it or not, there's actually more to talk about than just this storm. Because things are getting active again, we're going to have several storms to track. Now, let me get practical for a minute, because if you're in the impact zone, you need to be thinking about more than just the storm itself. Power outages are going to be a major concern with those 60+ mile-per-hour wind gusts. Heavy snow loading on power lines plus high winds equals lights out for many of y'all. If you're in the blizzard zone, you need food, water, medications, flashlights, batteries, and backup heat sources. Basically everything for several days of being stuck. And here's something folks don't think about. Make sure your vehicles are ready with emergency kits, because if you get stranded, help might not be able to reach you quickly. For our livestock folks and farmers, this is serious business. Cattle and other animals need shelter and windbreaks because these wind chills are going to be brutal. Emergency services are going to be stretched thin across multiple states at the same time, so prevention and preparation are your best friends right now. Now I want to take a moment to talk about something that's been on my heart as we head into this challenging weather event. During this sacred time between Christmas and New Year, when families are trying to reconnect and communities should be celebrating, Mother Nature is testing us once again. This is when our faith gets tested, when we find out what we're really made of, and when communities either come together or fall apart. I've seen it time and time again. The communities that weather these storms best are the ones where neighbors check on neighbors, where people look out for the elderly and vulnerable. If you've got elderly neighbors or folks with special needs in your area, now's the time to make sure they're prepared and have support systems in place. Churches and faith communities across the affected areas should be activating their emergency assistance programs because that's when the love of Christ really shows through. And if anybody watching has anything they need prayer for as we head into this storm, whether it's safe travel, family concerns, or just peace during the uncertainty, drop that in the comments. Because here's the thing about storms like this. They remind us that we're not in control, that there's a power greater than us, and that we need each other. Now let me dive deeper into some specific impacts that have me particularly concerned about this bomb cyclone setup. The combination of that 971 millibar pressure reading and the wind field it's going to create is going to be unlike anything we've seen in the Great Lakes region this winter. When you get pressure that low over the lakes with air temperatures dropping like they will, you create this perfect storm for incredible lake effect enhancement. And here's what's scary about lake effect. It's unpredictable in terms of exactly where those heavy bands set up, which makes preparation that much harder. You could have one neighborhood getting 6 inches while the neighborhood 5 miles away gets 2 feet. That's just the nature of lake effect snow. Buffalo, Watertown, and all those traditional lake effect snow belts. Y'all know the drill, but this could be particularly intense even by your standards. Michigan's Upper Peninsula is going to get absolutely hammered, both from the main storm and then lake effect from Superior, and that combination could be devastating. Now, let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention, the economic impact of a storm like this hitting during the holiday travel period. We're talking about millions of people trying to get home from Christmas, freight and shipping trying to make up for holiday delays, and retail trying to clear inventory. When you shut down major interstates and hub airports across the industrial heartland during peak travel time, the ripple effects go far beyond just weather. Supply chains that are already stressed from holiday demand are going to take another hit, and that affects everything from grocery deliveries to medical supplies. But here's where I want to shift gears and talk about resilience. Because every major storm teaches us something about preparedness and community strength. I've covered storms for years, and the communities that bounce back fastest are always the ones that had strong social networks before the storm hit. It's the neighborhoods where people know each other's names, where somebody checks on the elderly lady next door, where folks share generators and snowblowers. This storm is going to test those bonds, but it's also an opportunity to build them if they don't already exist in your community. Snow removal operations are going to be pushed to their absolute limits. We're talking about multiple states dealing with major accumulations simultaneously. Municipal budgets that are already tight are going to take a hit, and some smaller communities might need assistance from county and state resources. Emergency management agencies are coordinating across state lines, but the sheer scope of this storm means everyone's going to be stretched thin. Now, here's something that's really important to understand about the extended forecast and why this storm could be just the beginning. The atmospheric pattern that's creating this bomb cyclone, the jet stream configuration, the blocking patterns, that stuff doesn't just disappear after one storm. We could be looking at a more active January with additional winter storms following similar tracks, especially if this pattern locks in place. Areas that get hit hard by this weekend storm should start thinking about long-term winter preparedness, not just getting through this one event. And for our agricultural communities, this extended cold and active pattern could mean ongoing challenges for livestock operations and outdoor equipment. Heating costs are going to spike across the affected region as that Arctic air moves in and stays put, affecting everyone from families on fixed incomes to business operations. But let me bring this back to the immediate concern, because while we're talking about extended patterns, this weekend storm requires your attention right now. Hospital systems across the impact zone are preparing for increased emergency visits, cold-related injuries, carbon monoxide poisoning, heart attacks from snow shoveling. Emergency rooms in places like Minneapolis, Milwaukee, and Chicago should prepare for a surge starting Sunday night and continuing through Tuesday. And here's something that worries me. People getting stranded in their vehicles during blizzard conditions, especially folks who didn't take the warnings seriously. If you absolutely have to travel during this storm, make sure somebody knows your route and timeline and carry survival supplies in your vehicle. Now, as I wrap up this comprehensive look at what's coming, I want to leave y'all with some practical next steps and a reminder about what really matters. First, if you're in the blizzard zone, finish your preparations today. Tomorrow might be too late as conditions start deteriorating Sunday afternoon. Second, if you're in the severe weather zone, make sure you have ways to get warnings overnight Sunday. Weather radio, phone alerts, whatever works in your situation. Third, check on your neighbors, especially elderly folks or anyone with special needs. A simple check-in could literally save someone's life. And finally, remember that storms like this are temporary, but the way we treat each other during them creates lasting impact on our communities. This bomb cyclone is going to test us. Our preparation, our infrastructure, our patience, and our faith. But we're going to get through it together. May God bless and protect all of you as this storm approaches, and may we use this challenge as an opportunity to show love and support to our neighbors. Keep an eye on the forecast, stay safe out there, and remember, the weather's getting pretty intense and pretty active, but we've got this. I'll be tracking this bomb cyclone around the clock and providing updates as conditions develop, because keeping y'all informed is what this is all about. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and drop a comment if you need prayer for anything as we head into this storm. Until the next update, stay prepared, look out for each other, and remember that even in the middle of the storm, there's always hope and help available. Buckle up, y'all. Things are about to get real interesting with this bomb cyclone, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. Now, before I wrap this up, let me get specific about some metropolitan areas that are going to face unique challenges with this bomb cyclone setup. For my folks in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport is already implementing full winter protocols, and they're expecting this to be significant. The metro area could see some of the highest snow totals from this event, and when you combine that with wind chills dropping below zero, it's going to be dangerous for anyone caught outside. Interstate 35 from Minneapolis down to Des Moines could become a parking lot if this timing plays out like the models are showing. I'm talking about zero visibility conditions. Milwaukee and southeast Wisconsin, y'all are going to be dealing with that double whammy of heavy snow from the main storm, plus whatever Lake Michigan decides to add on top. The lakefront areas of Milwaukee could see enhanced accumulations. And with those wind gusts, we're talking about significant drifting that's going to make some roads impassable. Chicago. This is where it gets really interesting because you're right on that line between the heavy snow to the north and the potential for mixing further south. O'Hare and Midway are going to be disaster zones for flight operations. If you're flying through Chicago this weekend, good luck with that, seriously. The Loop and downtown areas might see less snow than the northern suburbs, but those northern suburbs, Schaumburg, Evanston, Waukegan, could get absolutely buried. Detroit Metro. You guys are going to deal with the main storm first. Then as that Arctic air starts flowing over Lake Huron and Lake St. Clair, additional lake effect snow. The Thumb region of Michigan could see some serious lake effect enhancement. And UP folks, y'all better be ready for what could be a historic event. Marquette, Escanaba, and Iron Mountain could see storm totals that shut things down for days, not just from the main storm, but from ongoing lake effect. Now, Cleveland and Northeast Ohio, this is where we start transitioning from that winter wonderland to something completely different. Cleveland Hopkins Airport is going to see impacts from both winter weather early and then potentially severe weather as that transition happens. The traditional snowbelt areas, Chardon, Mentor, Ashtabula County, could still see significant lake effect even after the main storm moves through. Columbus, Cincinnati, and Dayton, y'all are in that transition zone where this could start as snow and change to severe thunderstorms, which creates its own set of problems. Roads that get snow covered early could become extremely dangerous when temperatures spike ahead of those storms, creating flash freezing conditions. Indianapolis, you're right in the heart of that overnight severe weather threat, and Indy Airport could see impacts from both winter weather and severe storms. The timing is particularly concerning because that severe weather window opens when most folks are sleeping, which reduces warning effectiveness. St. Louis and the Missouri side, y'all need to be ready for what could be a significant wind event Sunday night as that squall line comes through. Lambert Airport is going to monitor conditions closely, and there's potential for tornado warnings in the metro area, even though the overall threat is somewhat limited. Memphis and West Tennessee, similar story with that overnight severe weather threat, but the instability being limited keeps this from being a major outbreak. Nashville and Middle Tennessee could see strong winds and maybe some brief tornado potential, but again, we're missing that one key ingredient for a really bad setup. Now let's talk about the East Coast impacts, because even though you're not getting the main show, there's still stuff to pay attention to. Buffalo and western New York, after the main storm passes, you guys know what's coming. Classic lake effect snow patterns that could last for days. The Thruway could see some serious impacts, and the Tug Hill Plateau could get absolutely destroyed by persistent lake effect bands. Watertown, Oswego, and Syracuse could see additional accumulations of 2 to 3 feet just from lake effect alone, which is crazy even by your standards. Rochester's going to be in that sweet spot for both the main storm and lake effect, and the greater Rochester area could see some significant travel impacts. Boston and New England, you guys are going to be on the southeastern edge of this thing, so mainly rain for the big cities with some mixing possible. Logan Airport might see some minor delays, but nothing like what the Great Lakes airports are going to experience.